Well, Steve, very close with my comments. We haven't had a chat for a while, so we've got the last three games to go over. But I suppose before we start on those last three good results, you've got to talk about what came before that, really, because all that improvement over the half a dozen games beforehand was building to us getting the sort of results we're getting.
Yeah, I feel really like our season took a bit of a nosedive in a little spell round about late October, early November, and that was a few factors really. We had some injuries to key players. Basically, we've said it before, our whole midfield, our goalkeeper. Every time, I think we lost 5 out of 6 in the league, which is terrible. It is a terrible run of form. It doesn't tell the whole story because I think in every single one of those games we only lost by 1 goal, and on top of that we had 2 pretty credible cup runs, cup wins. I think we beat Snodland and Glebe, kept a clean sheet in both, but you know, points in the league are what we're talking about today, and that kind of put us in a position none of us wanted to be in, and it drains your confidence a little bit. I feel like since the Rustall derby, which obviously we got the win and put an end to that little bad patch, I don't think we've played bad at all. The Fisher game, we lost 1-0 to Fisher. What wasn't vintage football, but it was a very difficult pitch. They nicked it 1-0 with a bit of quality. I don't actually think we've played bad this year, to be honest. I challenge anyone to say otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's just like you say, results haven't gone our way. But if you look at the five or six games running into the last 3, we were playing all the teams for big money. You know, okay, we lost 1-0 to ours where we should have at least had a draw, and the other 4, I think we drew. And in those games, we had at least 2 of them. We had good goals disallowed, you know, and we drew against big spenders.
Yeah, you need a little bit of rubber to green sometimes, and continuity helps, confidence helps. You know, I think once you pick up a couple of results, it does just psychologically give you a little bit of a platform to build on. The team, you know, losing's a bad habit, and habits are hard to break sometimes, and it was important we did that, and we ground out a few very credible draws. I mean, I feel like just in our short form, you know, we beat Lawswood, we've then drawn with Whitstable, which I took as a very good point and a clean sheet. Snodland, in theory, depending on what the FA, if they ever finally make a decision, we better get a point out of that at the minimum. I feel personally like could be 3, but look, on the day we've earned a point and another clean sheet, but then drawn with Lyd. So there was a credible 3 results there, which have then, as you say, we've now managed to put 3 wins together, which is fantastic.
Yeah, because I mean the other thing you didn't mention there was that sort of uplift again from where we were doing okay, but it's been a marked uplift again, and a lot of that seems to be because you went back 3. I mean, what was the rationale behind thinking we'll go with the back 3?
In complete honesty, I've got a lot of people that want to play centre half, and and I'll just you know, I'm aware that if people are playing where they want to play, they're going to enjoy it more. If they're enjoying it more, they're probably going to play a little bit more to their optimum, and that was really the catalyst for doing it. I mean, we drew and kept a clean sheet at Whitstable playing 4-2-3-1. So it was Snodland was the first time we did it. We went to 3-5-2. Regan played up front with Trev that day, and it was Sidgy, Jim and Sammy at the back. Yeah, you know, like, as I say, Sidgy, Jim, Sam. I've also got T-Bon, also got Wolds, who's quite keen to play in the back line, and obviously Harry Hudson. So when you've got that many people that can do it, and I think maybe the pressure was off us a little bit. I think maybe we started to feel like we were clear of relegation, and it was an opportunity to just try and build for next season, try and do a couple of things, and it does seem to have worked. But
so next season's the back 6 is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly that. We're gonna, but it's helpful to have a plan. We kind of thought this would be our plan B, because I just feel like it's a bit naive to only have one way of playing, only have one system, because there's going to be days in opposition where it doesn't work. So we kind of tried it as an experiment, and at the moment it's an experiment that seems to work. But I'd have no issue flipping back to the 4-2-3-1 if an opponent or a circumstance meant that was the thing to do. Because we weren't playing bad, to be fair. It's not like the transfer, the system has suddenly engineered some magical change of performance. I think there was some credible performances playing the other system as well.
Yeah, because I mean, going into that Welling game, that, as we just said, that result was almost coming, and you got Trev back to scores a hat-trick, back to goal scoring form. You're changing midfield a bit, and it was like it finally clicked as the three. Was that the game where you played 2-1 at front? I can't remember if that's
was that Welling? No, Lyd was the first time we did it. So yeah, we played 3-5-2 at Snodland. So that was the first time we played 3 at the back. And again, I personally feel we had a good control over that game.
Yeah.
I did not feel at any point, other than maybe an odd scrappy corner, that we looked like we were going to let a goal in that day. And it was just a question of whether we could score. Lyd, we just put the extra man in midfield to try and give us a little bit of dominance there. And I was really pleased with the Lyd performance. Bearing in mind the calibre of player that Lyd had got, bearing in mind the circumstance they're chasing playoffs. I personally felt that we at times dominated the ball against them, which is the first time I can remember us ever dominating the ball this season. I mean, we've had some good results, but they've not really been, maybe we've physically dominated people, maybe we've been ruthless, but I think Lyd was the first time I actually saw us dominating the ball.
And I think it went on because, like I say, it showed in the Welling game that we'd learned, and that's why we scored the goals, because of the league game, because we just kept doing that. And okay, you don't beat what was in front of you, but we scored 6, and I can't remember that. We think it's like 2-3 years ago since we've scored that many goals.
Brilliant. I mean, that's fantastic. Supporters want to see goals quite clearly. I like us to score early because it's just nice. Unfortunately for my nerves, way too many occasions our games have been tight this season, and you can never breathe. You're always a bit reluctant to bring your subs on because you don't want to upset the balance when things are really tight.
It's that we've lost by 1 goal, isn't it?
And we missed a lot of good chances against Welling as well. I mean, I can just clearly remember a couple of absolute sitters that we missed.
Yeah.
So 6-2 could have been 8-9-0.
Yeah.
And look, credit where credit's due. Welling scored their 2 goals. Very sloppy from us.
Yeah, you could argue we gave them the goals rather than they scored it, to be honest.
But you know what? They've subsequently got a point at Kennington, and good luck to Kev and the boys there in their fight for survival. So I know they targeted us, rightly so. They looked at the league table. They targeted us as a game they could get 3 points from. So yeah, it was encouraging that we were able to put that game to bed relatively quickly.
And you're saying teams targeting us. Well, that's the next thing. Was Deal, who'd won 11 on the trot. They hadn't lost since October, and they clearly targeted us as that we're going to win the league at Tunbridge Wells. Okay. And then they got to shock their lives because actually it was a game we deserved to win. That wasn't that we needed to get the game. We deserved that win.
Look, I've said before, and I'm not going back on what I said, that when we played Deal away, we lost 3-0. That's a comprehensive defeat. And on the day, they were a class above us. Absolutely no question about that. Having said all of that, 2 of the goals were direct from corners, and the third one was a corner where we brought someone down, resulting in a penalty. So there were 3 dead balls settled that game. We had a very good chance at the end of the first half, which Reggie forced to save out the goalkeeper from, which he should have scored. And at the point that would have made it 1-1. And on top of that, the last 15-20 minutes when we actually took the handbrake off and brought all the subs on, we had quite a good go at them. I think I can remember Shields who grazed the crossbar. So my point being, we weren't a million miles from them, even there, but the scoreline was quite comprehensive. And I said to the boys, particularly off the back of those goals we let in against Welling and the 2 we let in at Lyd, because they were both bad goals as well, I said to the boys, the challenge today is to not make any mistakes, because if we defend set pieces well and if we don't give them any gifts, there's no reason why we can't get something out of this. And I think I've already said it. Harry Hudson put his hand up, said he wanted to mark Billy Monday again, who would give him a torrid time. he stood up, done his job. The whole team done their job.
Well, I don't think Harry has missed a header for the last 3 games now.
Been exceptional.
He just went every single thing.
He's in the best form I've seen him since I've been associated with the club, and the challenge for him is to keep that going.
Because Sidgy dropped out because he was away, and he's not got. We wouldn't have thought, well, Sidgy's not getting in the team. He's got to take this chance when it comes.
Yeah,
it's such a change.
Yeah, Sidge went to see his girlfriend in Switzerland over Easter. Fair play. We don't own these people. They've got a life outside of Tunbridge Wells, and he fully respects the situation. Took 2 clean sheets. If you're a defender and you weren't there, it's same for Dan Tier. Everyone understands it.
Yeah, because you're talking about Harry in the best form of his life. For Deal, you had Rory, Jamie, and Brad as your 3 sort of midfielders. Before Christmas, we'd have been scratching your head thinking, "Hey, really?" But actually, they've been brilliant these last 2 games.
Yeah.
So, we chatted to Jamie after the game, and he just said, "I'm just buzzing. I feel like I can do anything at the moment. I'm really buzzing."
That's great. Shieldsy came in for the derby, which I checked earlier is probably the upturn in their performances. Now, I'm not saying that's all because of Shieldsy, but ironically, the only game I didn't start in was the 3-0 defeat away at Deal. So I think maybe Shieldsy is one of those quiet, understated guys that just gets on with his job, sacrifices himself for the team, doesn't try and do anything over elaborate, just gets on. He's actually chipped in with a goal against Welling and an assist against Lyd, put it on a plate for Trev. So been a massive addition. He's a real good guy as well. He was one of the boys that we went and watched the 23s last night, hoping to cheer them over the line, and Shieldsy was one of the boys that actually turned up to support that as well. So he's a real good club guy. Brad's had to be very patient. Obviously, I feel he's benefited from step 5, took him out, put him into Uckfield earlier in the season. He's earned his stripes, he's took on board what we asked from him, and again he's playing really well now. He's got a chance. And Raw's has been a very versatile player since the start of the season. I think I've played him left back, I've played him on the wing, I've played him in the 10, played him a little bit deeper, and he never lets us down.
Like you say, all those 3-4 games could have been man of the match, and that would just be, from where we were, that's just really amazing. So they should be pleased. But also Trev's back in his goal rate. He got a typical Porteous goal, but he took it so well against Deal, didn't he? He
did, yeah. Again, that was a lot more than a tap-in. He's had to have a bit of composure. He's had to be patient. He's sat the goalkeeper down, and then he's put it in the far corner. It's a very composed finish, actually. And that's why Trev is our talisman, isn't it? He can do that. I think he's over 30 goals now for the season.
He is. He's scored 30 in the league alone.
Is he really? That's fantastic for a team. Look, we'll take credit. I don't really like man of the matches because why pick one out? When you put in a performance like that against Deal, why pick out one person? Unless your goalkeeper has absolutely had a worldie and literally kept you in it, which it looks like Kent Football thought was the case.
Yeah.
Obviously weren't there.
He's happy to get a ball and gets back into the team.
And again, unless one player is single-handedly, like Maradona used to carry Argentina, which I don't think is the case. They've just been very good, functional team performances.
Well, Deal was the proof of the pudding, because you could have had 4 or 5 different man of the matches if you were trying to pick one.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then you look at what happened when we went to Welling because of that, where again you could have had several man of the matches, because I think that's all you can do is describe that as a comfortable win.
Agreed.
It sounds silly when it's 5-0, but it was just such a comfortable win.
6-2, wasn't it, Welling?
No, I'm talking about
You're on to Sutton now.
Sutton, sorry, Sutton was where it's 5-0, and that was just comfortable.
We watched Sutton play Whitstable, and we saw what they tried to do, and they were very patient against Whitstable. Even though they lost 5-0, they weren't breached until stoppage time in the first half, and 3 of the goals were corners, one of them was a penalty. So actually, open play, they defended quite well. So we kind of knew it was going to be important to try and score early, because if a team's got a way of playing, which is effectively to sit off, try and be compact, it's quite important you breach that, because otherwise you know, the pressure builds
Yeah.
on you to start throwing more bodies forward, and then you're a little bit open on the counter attack. So I thought the goal that Trev scored, A, he's took it very well, but B, it started off from Bentley. Bentley's played it out to Sammy. Sammy's played it to Ned.
Yeah.
Ned's played it at Brad. Brad's played it. It's a real good goal back to front, and
That's
played some good football.
well,
in
actually,
it.
that's what it shows, because the thing that was obvious in that Sutton game was how the systems developed and how well we played it. Where we were comfortable at the back, we were patient, and when we needed to get wide, we went wide and attacked. But we're also, because we changed the system, playing through the middle. So we had balls coming through, balls through the middle and out wide.
Yeah.
But everything started, and we were just patient with that back three, and Brad dropping in at times.
I mean, the thing with that particular back three, Sammy, Jim, and H, well, they're all very comfortable on the ball. So if a team wants to sit off us, which Sutton did predominantly, and give us time, they're going to keep the ball all day, and they're going to find passes. They're also, in the case of Sammy and H, they're both comfortable carrying the ball. They're both playing midfield, so they can dribble in. They can. So we've got quite a few ways, if a team wants to sit off us, of breaking them down. The flip side to that, if they want to come onto us and press us, well, we can play a little bit more direct when we've got that midfield overload. So it's quite a versatile way of doing it. But you know, it's easy to look comfortable in your back line when the opposition sits off. I don't. Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't just sitting off. Like I said, it gave us that go forward momentum, and you can only beat what's in front of you. And we you know, I can't remember them having a shot. They had one where Bentley had to tip it over the bar, but other than that, really, we weren't troubled.
Yeah,
and it just showed to me that the guys have finally got how you want it to play.
I think some of that's organic. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not claiming that I've given them this definitive blueprint of how we play in every scenario. Some of them, we give them a structure, we trust them as players, we know we've got some good footballers, and they're starting to find some solutions. I think Rory's goal, H has picked it up at right centre half and drove inside, dribbled right into almost a attacking midfield position before playing a through ball, and that, I'll be honest with you, that ain't something I've coached. That's him taking the ball by the horns. Brad was hitting the diags to Matty, you know, from a deep left to a right. The boys are confident. I think they're comfortable with what we want from them. Their confidence is relatively high, and also, you know, to be truthful, we're probably playing opposition in Welling and Sutton with the greatest respect, who we probably should be beating.
Yeah.
Whereas prior to that, we had a really tough run, you know.
Yeah, before Christmas, we weren't necessarily beating them. Now we are, and doing it comfortably. I mean, that's in that 3 games, you've got 12 goals and only conceded 2.
Yeah.
You've had that game 5 different goal scorers, a second clean sheet on the trot.
Yes, it's 4 clean sheets in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
And you're right. We drew with Sutton and Welling earlier in the season, so I guess that proves that we've come on. I guess even, you know, because they're both desperately, you know, particularly Welling, they're desperately scrapping for points. So we'll see what happens this week, because Erith and Faversham, that's the other end of the coin. Both the other side of the coin. Sorry, both going for the playoffs.
Yeah, because that gives us, like we said, coming up, we've got 7 games in 12 days, and there's those 2 to start off. I think we've got a couple of easy games, but there's another couple of tough ones as well. These next 2 weeks are going to be a real challenge, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm gonna just say that we ain't got any easy games. There's no such thing as an easy game in this league, and I look at it now, and I think I wouldn't want to. I certainly not going to sit here and say I'm predicting 3 wins or 4 wins or 6 wins or 7 wins. I think Faversham and Erith have got a pressure on them because they want to get in that playoffs. Now, sometimes pressure can fuel you to play brilliantly. Sometimes it can become a bit of a heavy burden that you suffer under. So that's on them. They've got to play Saturday, Faversham, and then they've got to come to us on Monday. So that's tough. But they've got a squad. They've got some big players. Yeah. I'm sure they can cope with it. Erith got their cup final on Sunday, which I no doubt they'll have to put everything into. But I've heard Woody on record saying that the league's his priority. So, you know, he's got a couple of days recovery till Wednesday, and they'll be a little bit fresher than us. So, be interesting to see how those two games go. we've given a good account of ourselves away against both of them. So we'll see what happens.
I think, given what we've just seen over the last few games, we can go now with a bit of confidence. Actually, we can take the game to them this time as well. You know,
I mean,
okay, they're the favourites, but we'll feel like we can give them a game now.
We're definitely not overawed. We're definitely not going into it with some inferiority complex. We're aware of the fact they're good sides. We're aware of the fact that if we're sloppy, we'll get punished. But we're also aware of the fact that we can cause them both problems because we've done that both times we've played them. We drew with Faversham. They bombarded us a little bit with set pieces towards the end. I'll hold my hands up and say we're going to have to be on the money at defending set pieces. Erith, I genuinely think we didn't, so you get what you get, but we should have got a point out of that. We had a golden chance at the end, and we made a pretty big mistake for one of the goals, but that's football, that's our season.
Yeah.
There hasn't been many times where we've played someone off the park or where we've been played off the park.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 2 games, they are the most comfortable by a long shot, aren't they? So puts us in good stead.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed we get 2 wins again then.
Hopefully, mate, hopefully.